Recording in progress.
Hello, welcome to Unboxed God, where we detox from religion and discover the God who refuses to fit inside the boxes we were given. I'm Tolu Sarah Johnson, and here we explore who God really is beyond fear, beyond formulas, and beyond everything we were taught to perform. If you're hungry for a real relationship with Him, you are in the right place. Let's dive in. So, this is going to be the first chapter in my current book, which is reframe your suffering, basically. And the first chapter in the book is this is not punishment. That's the first chapter we're going to discuss. And that is in the first theme of the pain you thought was against you. I don't know your story, but have you ever been going through something so deep, so painful, that you felt it might come like a question? What did I do wrong? You might not say it out. It might just be in your chest. A quiet, heavy suspicion. Where have I gone wrong? Because when pain arrives without explanation, the human heart reaches for the nearest story it knows. And the oldest story we have learned about pain is this: pain means punishment. Suffering means God is displeased. Hardship means you have failed. So what do? You begin searching your past like a crime scene. You replay conversations. You revisit mistakes. You confess things you've already confessed before. You apologize for things God has already forgiven. Even you don't need to apologize for God to forgive you. He's a merciful Father. Because there's so many things we did that we don't even know we did wrong. You try to fix what you think must have caused this. But what if the foundation of that thinking is wrong? What if the pain you are in is not a response to your failure, but a place of formation you do not recognize yet? We've been taught to associate pain with punishment, long before we learn to associate pain with purpose. That's what we've been taught. Somewhere along the way, you were taught subtly or loudly that if you were close to God, life will be smooth. If you were obedient, life will be blessed. Life will be blessed. If you were faithful, life will be protected from hardship. So when hardship comes, you assume the opposite must be true. God must be correcting me. God must be disciplining me. God must be unhappy with me. No. I remember when my husband passed on to glory. And I spoke to a pastor. The pastor essentially made me feel I didn't do enough. I didn't pray enough. If I brought my husband to him, he would have been able to resurrect him, or he would have been able to keep him from dying. What a high level of ignorance. God can call you home at any day, anytime, any moment. You arrive at this earth, and your exit in this life does not depend on you. It depends on Him. Now I've got that clarity. before my clarity was blunt. I thought we will all live long life and prosperity. That's what we're taught. And anything outside of long life is punishment. So they make you to try to solve a crime that never happened. Do you know how many times I rethink in my mind? Maybe if I've seen this pastor, maybe if I've prayed more, maybe if I've fasted more. They made me feel guilty to the extent that in the first 3 or 4 weeks, or let's say the first 3 months, I was fasting almost every week, asking for God's forgiveness. Wherever I failed him, that he had to take my husband home. It's making me emotional because it's just flashing back. It was dark those 3 months. And then the first message I got from God from a prophet began to be the light I needed in the darkness. It gave me a ray of hope. When God said, Tolu, we brought your husband home. We need you. We need you to work on Matthew Robo pain. We know he really pained you. We're sorry, but we had to bring him home. That comforted my soul. And at last I'm like, oh, God is not punishing me. I've done nothing wrong. It is born from religion. All of those bullshit. They give you the fear that tragedy is divine payback. It's not born from the Father, sir. Religion quietly taught you that God keeps score. That somewhere in heaven, there's a record of your wrong thoughts, your failures, your inconsistency. And when something painful happens, it must be him balancing the books. But the Father is not a scorekeeper. He's not standing over you with a clipboard, measuring your worth by how well you performed this year. He's not waiting for you to sleep so he can justify letting hardship come your way. That image of God is not fatherly. It is mechanical, cold, transactional, and it is deeply untrue. True correction from God does not look like punishment. It looks like mercy, like a divine emergency brake, pulling you back from the edge of something you cannot say. It is surgical, precise, restorative. It does not shame. It heals. It does not reject. It refines. It does not say, look what you've done. It says, look what you are becoming. Punishment pushes you away from God in fear. Formation pulls you towards God in trust. Punishment says you did wrong. And formation says you are becoming. And the tragedy is this. Many believers sit in places of divine formation, interpreting it as divine rejection. So instead of leaning in, they pull away. Instead of trusting, they defend themselves. Instead of resting, they strive to correct something God is not even accusing them of. So, religion says hardship is a sign of God's anger. The Father says hardship is a classroom where trust grows. Religion says clean yourself up, then come close. The Father says you already beloved before you perform. Because does your children have to clean themselves up before you love them? You love them the moment you give birth to them. Even right from the womb, you love them. And you shower them so much love. They don't need to prove. So why do you think God requires us to prove? Devil's lie. Religion says failure disqualifies you. The Father says failure is where grace learns to speak loudly. Religion says God punishes sin with lust. And the Father says, I use the breaking to let more light into you. So what if this season is not God's anger towards you, but God's confidence in what is growing within you? What if this is not a courtroom, but a workshop? What if this is not a sentence, but a shaping? Because punishment is about the past, but formation is always about the future. The Father has bent the road of your life towards mercy, not towards penalty, not towards payback, not towards humiliation, but towards formation, towards softness of the heart, towards depth of trust, towards a soul prepared for something far beyond this moment. So when you see pain as punishment, you live in shame. When you see pain as formation, you live in hope. I live in hope every day. I know God is forming me through this pain. You could not tell me anything otherwise, because I've seen my life is a living testimony. One makes you smaller, the other makes you deeper. One makes you hide, the other teaches you to trust. And this is why the reframing matters so much. Because as long as you believe this is punishment, you will fight the very process that is trying to grow you. You will pray for escape when God is inviting you into transformation. You will ask for relief when God is building resilience in you. You will seek answers when God is building character. So, this is not punishment. This is preparation. This is not God pushing you away. This is God bringing you into places of yourself you will never have entered willingly. This is not evidence that you are failed. This is evidence that you are being trusted with growth. And the moment this change in your mind, everything in your heart, you stop asking, what did I do wrong? And you begin to ask, what is God forming in me? That is the first reframing. And it is the one that unlocks peace. Because now, instead of sitting in pain, feeling accused, you sit in pain, feeling accompanied. And that changes everything. God bless.